Northern Ireland's top law officer wants to draw a line under 30 years of conflict by ending prosecutions of crimes committed during the Troubles. The proposal provoked an outcry from the families of victims who branded it a totally disgusting idea, whilst David Cameron said it would be dangerous to rule out future prosecutions. But Northern Ireland is still struggling to resolve the legacy of its violent past, as our Home Affairs correspondent Andy Davis now reports.
They are images captured in the silent aftermaths of a conflict which once seemed so deafening. The slow-step punctuation marks in a narrative as bloody as it was relentless. But that narrative is proving difficult to write in Northern Ireland. More than 3,500 died during 3 decades of the Troubles. 47,000 were injured, but countless questions remain over the many still unsolved murders. They talk about truth recovery here, and into this ever-toxic debate over how to deal with the past, in steps Northern Ireland's most senior law officer on the BBC this morning with a deeply controversial proposal.
The time has come to think about putting a line set at Good Friday 1998 with respect to prosecutions, inquests and other inquiries.
He's proposing an end to all prosecutions, inquests and inquiries concerning offences linked to the Troubles which predate the 1998 Good Friday Agreement. It's not an amnesty, he says. Offences wouldn't be wiped out as if they'd never happened. They just wouldn't be prosecuted. In return, those who lost relatives, among others, would gain much greater access to records held by the state concerning their cases. Colm Cameron was 12 years old when his father was killed, shot by loyalist paramilitaries beside a colleague at this depot in West Belfast. No one has ever been convicted of the murders.
We got a phone call just as we hit the last bed of the wounded to say that my father had just took his last breath. He was laying in the yard, accompanied by his friend who worked with him for many years. At that, we were taken home, where we met my mum back at the house, and it was confirmed to us by my mum that my father had passed away. It was just unreal.
His family's verdict on John Larkin's proposal today, completely unacceptable.
I think this is trying to brush every victim that's related in the Troubles, not just my own grief, but every victim under the carpet. It's like giving an amnesty to the people that did this.
From those families whose relatives died at the hands of the state, there was a similar reaction today, rejecting outright a proposal which, among other things, would end any prospect of British soldiers being prosecuted over Bloody Sunday. One prominent Belfast lawyer said John Larkin's idea could even breach the European Convention on Human Rights. Politicians from Westminster to Stormont joined in the chorus of criticism, except that is for one former Northern Ireland secretary.
There should be no question of an amnesty. Surely there's some merit in the proposal from the Northern Ireland Attorney General that rather than incurring enormous expenditure and effort pursuing crimes committed during the Troubles decades ago, where the evidence is difficult if not impossible to establish, the justified grievances of victims, including widows of police officers and prison officers, should be addressed in other ways so that Northern Ireland can move on from its hideous past.
This is a bold, unpopular intervention from John Larkin, but it was breathtaking, said one editorial today, and now is the time, it said, if progress is to be made, to think the unthinkable.
Andy Davies reporting.